I am Akiage Simba. Welcome to your official Sector Trends this morning. Just before we get into serious business, let's talk about your workplace, because indeed all of us have to be at the workplace now for us to run majority of these businesses, even if majority of us have also started working remotely. But this morning, let's talk about emotional intelligence in leadership. And joining us is Dr. Mary Mugo. I'll be talking to her shortly. But how is it important? What is it? How do you evaluate your emotional intelligence as a leader? And how do you know or understand emotional intelligence? And joining us this morning is Dr. Mary Mugo, a business author and consultant, motivational speaker, and also a lecturer in one of the leading universities in the country. Dr. Mary Mugo, how are you doing?
I'm okay, Simba. How are you today?
I am fantastic. I can't complain. I don't think I have a reason to complain. I'm alive today.
Oh yeah, many people have gone. This corona is no joke. I hope you're masking and you're washing your hands. But we thank God we're here.
Observing all those protocols, we thank God. All right. Now, before we delve into this conversation, what have you been up to since we last talked about career development, Dr. Mary Mugo?
Yeah, thank you, Simba. I've been developing my career actually. You see, what I teach is what I practice. So I'm also developing my career. And I've been writing a book on leadership, which is out this morning. And one of the topics is emotional intelligence. So I've been writing a book. The title is Dissecting the Heart of Leadership. And you can get it on my shop, marymugo.shopyangu.com. That's what I've been doing, Simba.
Fantastic. Should I say congratulations, Dr. Mary Mugo? And let's therefore get into that area that you're writing about, emotional intelligence and leadership. So it's not just about emotional intelligence. You're introducing that concept for leadership. Let's talk about that. For someone who wants to understand what emotional intelligence is, Dr. Mary Mugo, how do we define it in respect to the workplace?
Thank you, Simba. Now, emotional intelligence is the ability of a leader to actually understand their own emotions and the emotions of others. It is the ability for a leader to evaluate and control their emotions and of others. It is the ability of a leader to actually connect with people and understand their emotions and control their own emotions and of others. So emotional intelligence has to do with emotions. How well as a leader can you evaluate your own emotions? How well as a leader can you actually control your own emotions? You see, as a leader, you must be, if you really have to succeed, Simba, as a leader, if you've got to actually be able to be efficient and effective, you really must know how to exercise emotional intelligence. Because in the workplace, we have different kinds of people, and those people have their own emotions. This morning, everyone came to Metropol with their own emotions. You don't know what they went through this morning. So as a leader, you must be able to evaluate your own emotions, understand your own emotions, control them, and also of other people. That is what emotional intelligence is all about, Simba.
Yes, and Dr. Mary Mugo, let's start from this perspective. Actually, I feel like I should have started from there. That emotional intelligence is a skill, isn't it? It's something that you can learn.
Yes, you do. You can learn emotional intelligence, yes.
And as a leader, therefore, Dr. Mary Mugo, are you going to learn the situations at the workplace that would therefore need you to apply the skill?
What you need to do, Simba, is to understand other people's emotions.
Yes.
You see, when you say as a leader, if you exercise emotional intelligence, you are connecting with people. When I connect with Simba, I understand Simba better. Because you see, leadership is situational. The way you react with Simba may not be the same way you react with Mary Mugo. So as a leader, you've got to understand people's emotions. You've got to understand how do people react when you do something.
Yes.
You see, for example, Simba, there are employees who don't like being micromanaged or supervised too closely. If you supervise them too closely, their emotions, their moods will change. But the others, if you don't supervise them, closely, then the work will not be done. That is why emotional intelligence is that ability to understand the emotions of others. You need to be able to read the emotions of other people as a leader. And that is possible. You are able to tell when Simba is happy, he looks like this way. When Simba has an issue, as a leader, you must be able to know that. That is the only way you'll be able to use emotional intelligence effectively in the workplace.
Yes.
You cannot treat people the same way, Simba. People are different. People react differently. There are people who, when they're happy, they cry. There are people who are, when they are happy, they actually look like they are not happy. But that's the way they are. So as a leader, you must understand your people. You must understand their emotions so that you're able to react to them depending on the persons and, of course, the situation that they are in.
It's a personal question that I have this as we continue, therefore, delving further into this conversation. A leadership style and emotional intelligence, do those clash, Dr. Mary Mugo?
Yes and no, Simba, because you see, the leadership style that a leader uses is situational.
Yes.
There are many types of leadership styles, but the leadership style that is more effective is one that is contingent. You look at the situation, you look at the environment, then you react. Of course, the reaction has to do with
Dr. Mary
emotion.
Mugo, I'm sorry to cut you short. I don't mean to. I like what you're saying, that a good leadership style is the one that is situational, that I've got an issue here that I have to handle, so let me react like this. But don't we have also good leaders who are known for a specific style, like that is what works, it's going to work like that, and it always works out for him or her?
I'll tell you what, Simba, there's no leadership style that works at all times unless you have the same human beings throughout.
Yes.
You see, Simba, human beings are not machines. Human beings are emotional beings. You cannot, for example, say that the only leadership style that works is autocratic because people will do what I want to do. People are not machines. And by the way, they may do it because they fear being fired, but they'll be stressed. That is why, Simba, people are sick in offices. People are stressed because leaders do not understand you must be situational. We are not the same. Mary Mugo and Simba are very different. What makes Mary Mugo happy is very different from what makes another person different. So you've got to be situational. The modern ways of leadership, by the way, which is in my book, is you've got to be contingent. You've got to look at the situation in which you are operating. Simba, you cannot be operating using only one leadership style and succeed unless you're dealing with machines. Or the kind of work you're doing demands that you use only one leadership style.
Yes. All right, so Dr. Mary Mugo, are we therefore recommending that if you really need to be a leader, one of those areas that you need proper training on is emotional intelligence? How critical is this, Dr. Mary Mugo, and how long should it take?
Simba, emotional intelligence is something you keep on cultivating every day.
Without necessarily going for training on it?
What we are doing now is we are training them just to make them understand what is emotional intelligence. But it will take you as a leader to cultivate that emotional intelligence. And let me just tell you a few ways that you can use to cultivate emotional intelligence. You need to listen to people without interrupting.
Yes.
As a leader, you cultivate emotional intelligence by looking at the way you respond to issues, the way you respond to people. When people speak to you, do you respond without thinking? Do you have what I would call outburst, emotions? Are you always arguing over nothing, or what Kenyans say, arguing to death for nothing? You've got to cultivate that aspect of always being an active listener, always being able to see what is it, are people understanding what I'm saying? And of course, you've got to be able to connect to people, which Simba brings me to the 5 key factors that really understand as far as emotional intelligence is concerned. And one of them is you've got to understand, or you've got to have self-awareness. You cannot cultivate emotional intelligence unless you understand first your own emotions, you understand your own moods and the impact it has on other people. So as you cultivate emotional intelligence, it is important for you to be self-aware of yourself. Have self-assessment of who you are. Understand your own emotions. Understand your own, moods and how it impacts other people. Secondly, you must exercise self-regulation at all times, or self-management. Basically meaning you've got to, understand and be able to be calm even when things are difficult. Are you calm under anxiety? Are you calm when you're speaking to people? You've got also to understand that you need to do away with disruptive emotions in the workplace. That is self-regulation, self-management. Number 3, Simba, you've got to be motivated. You've got to have a passion for what you do for other reasons other than money as a leader. You see, as a leader, you've got to be to love what you do. You cannot exercise emotional intelligence unless you love what you do. You have a passion for your work. You have a passion to be a journalist. That you cultivate emotional intelligence. Number 4, Simba, you've got to exercise empathy. You've got to be able to respond to those unspoken feelings. You see, there is as a leader, you need to understand that when people are speaking to you, sometimes they are speaking to you what is in their heart. They are speaking to you so that you feel nice as a leader. So as a leader, if you've got to cultivate emotional intelligence, you've got to be empathetic. You've got to respond to those unspoken feelings. Because many times, human beings don't always tell you what you should hear. They tell you what you want to hear. So you've got to see that unspoken aspect. And finally, Simba, you've got to have social skills. And social skills are very rare in sometimes in many organizations. Are you able to connect with people? Are you able to, get to know what exactly people are up to? Are you able to have positive relationships at work? Or are you the kind of leader who brings in negativity? Are you the kind of leader who is so proud that you can't be approached? Simba, there's some leaders, when people have problems, they send others to tell them, you can't be approached. So you can cultivate emotional intelligence every other day. It is not something that comes just like that. You've got to actually be committed and be responsible for your actions. That is the way to cultivate emotional intelligence in your workplace. And Simba, emotional intelligence is for all of us, not just the leaders.
Yes.
Everybody needs to cultivate emotional intelligence. Sometimes people kill themselves because they have no emotional intelligence. You have had people, something happens, maybe they are fired, they kill themselves. You need to be calm even when things are tough. And that is cultivated, Simba, over time. And of course, it is important to learn. And that is what we are doing today. Because you learn, then you practice. Yeah.
Pretty much. Well, you've touched on the next area that I really wanted to ask you about this morning, that indeed, even as we are talking about leaders who have inculcated in themselves this skill for emotional intelligence, they might not be necessarily effective if the same employees they are managing are also not trained on emotional intelligence skills at the workplace. So, Dr. Mary Mugo, whose responsibility is it, therefore, sort of train these employees on emotional intelligence? And for it to be effective, that same question, should everybody at the workplace be put on this training so they can get the skill for emotional intelligence at the workplace?
Yes, Simba, emotional intelligence is for everyone. It is of course very difficult for a leader to actually manage people who have no emotional intelligence as well. In fact, it is tough because basically what you're saying is that you're able to control your own emotions, but your employees cannot. However, Simba, as we always say, that stops at the leadership, because the leadership should be able to actually understand their own emotions and those of the employees. They should be able to manage their own emotions and those of the employees. However, as the employee also, for your own good, it is important for you to also exercise emotional intelligence. You don't have to go shouting at everyone in the office. You don't have to go, quarreling everybody in the office for nothing. Simba, you've seen employees who start a small thing and it is really becomes big just because they don't have emotional intelligence. Maybe the boss just told you something like, let us please try and come to work early. Then you're like, you people don't know there's jam. You people don't know we live so far. You pay us so low. That is lack of emotional intelligence. So even you as an employee, you must cultivate emotional intelligence. You must be calm. And Simba, tell the readers that we are ready to take their employees through this very serious topic of emotional intelligence. Because guess what, Simba? Where there's emotional intelligence in an organization, the working environment is very good.
Yes.
You will never hear cases of excessive stress, depression, and those kind of things. So for the sake of the company, it is always good that everyone in the organization goes through a training on emotional intelligence. Thank you, Simba.
Fantastic. Now, let's talk about this. It's a very interesting question that I got from somebody over the weekend, Dr. Mary Mugo. Let's talk about it. They said, when you look at company policies and rules, that is something that majority of the times you can negotiate on. Fine. So, and then they said, a good leader is the one who makes sure that this company policy and rules are followed to the letter by the employees. Now, let's develop that question. They said majority of the times, a good leader, and I want you to confirm or deny that, is the one, a good leader is viewed in two ways. There's a good leader to the management, and there's a good leader to the employees. Majority of the times, you find that it's very hard for you to please both ends, the top management and your employees. So, Dr. Mary Mugo, let's put emotional intelligence in that scenario. Who is a good leader and how do you achieve both? Make your top management happy and make your employees happy at the same time while following the strict company policy and rules.
Simba, a good leader is actually, let's put it, a true leader. What is true here? A true leader is actually supposed to do work and both parties are happy. Please note that leadership is not about pleasing people. We say that if you want to please people as a leader, go and sell ice cream. Leadership is not about pleasing people. It's about influencing people to achieve the organization of to achieve the goals of the organization. Now, simple policies are good, but a good leader, and it's in my book, by the way, a good leader is supposed to ensure that the policies work for both the employees and the top management.
Yes.
A good leader is supposed to ensure they use their emotional intelligence. One of the use of emotional intelligence, Simpa, is making rational and impartial decisions. If you have emotional intelligence, your decisions are rational. Your decisions are impartial. Pride does not come in as you make your decisions. And by the way, Simpa, I'm of the opinion that if a policy can be broken to make things better, because of this one reason. Let's say your policy says that, just as an example, your policy says that if someone loses another, you're supposed to go home for compassionate leave for 2 weeks. And then you realize that this employee is back after 2 weeks and you realize they are still not in their right state. As a leader using emotional intelligence, you cannot sit and say that, oh, the policy says you can only be out for 2 weeks. As a leader, it is expected that you give that employee another 1 week. And you don't need to give them that 1 week and say, now, we've given you so much, so 3 weeks, so you can't go for leave again. That is not leadership. That is why you must understand the emotions of other people. That is why you cannot say that as a leader, I'll please management, employees are suffering. In fact, Simba, in my book, I've said very clearly that a true leader has the courage to say no and do the right thing and speak the truth. But as you speak that truth, you need to be controlled. That's why you must control your emotions. So, Simba, policies are good, but policies cannot solve everything. That is why there is a leader. That is why, as a leader, you should know what works, what doesn't work. For example, Simba, policies say that employees should be in the office at 8, right? But we know there are employees who go to the office at 8 and they read the newspapers up to 10 or 11. Then another employee comes at 9 and they start their work, they do their work. So who is working here? Is it the policy working on the employees?
All right, Dr. Mary Mugo, let's take 2 minutes and respond to these direct questions that we have from our audience this morning. Now, I'm just going to read them out and then you sort of give a quick response to them. Mm-hmm. We have Patrice who says, I simply hate my boss, advise me. And number 2, we do have a Rose from Buruburu who says, how do I recover and start being intelligent? And I think here they were just talking about sort of applying that emotional intelligence at work. Those 2 questions.
Now, first of all, why are you hitting your boss? You see, it means you have no emotional intelligence. You see
there could be so many reasons though.
you see, Simba, if you're very annoyed, if you're an employee, there are those things. And again, that's why I said you need to understand yourself. You see, there are people who are quick to respond, quick to react. If you know you are that kind of a person, when you realize that the anger is boiling, just walk out, breathe in and out, and come back. So exercise, there's no need of fighting because you put yourself into more trouble. But of course, even as a leader, if you realize that you should have understood your employees so well that you don't meet them in an office. You meet them in an open place where there are people so that you control their emotions, you see. Now, for the boss in Buruburu, it's very simple. You've got to continuously take responsibility of your actions. You've got to continuously connect with your staff. If possible, take them out for lunch, take them out for team building. That is how you will continuously cultivate emotional intelligence. And nobody can say that they have emotional intelligence 100%. You've got to keep on doing it every other day. You've got to keep on, cultivating it every minute, because even leaders are human beings, Simba. We are also human beings. We feel bad when people disrespect us. We feel bad when people don't do what we are saying. I'm saying we because I'm a leader, but I've got to cultivate that, emotional intelligence so that even when I feel so mad about an employee, I'll still be able to speak to them in a moderated manner.
Fantastic. It couldn't get any better. Keep the questions coming in. We shall be forwarding them to her even as we get offline shortly at Metropol TVKE across all your social media platforms. We've been speaking to Dr. Mary Mugo. Dr. Mary Mugo, how can they get that book?
Yeah, you can get the book on leadership at marymugo.shopyangu.com, or you can call us on 0776 045 087. A copy is 1,500 hard copy, including delivery in Kenya. You can also get a digital copy at 1,000 shillings at marymugo.shopyangu.com, or if you're outside the country, you can buy the book at Amazon. And Simba, allow me to say my parting shot, very important for leaders. I'm one of them. Human beings are not machines. Human beings are emotional beings. Do not treat your employees like machines. Treat your employees like normal, human, emotional beings. Thank you, Simba, for having me.
Anytime. Always a pleasure hosting you.